Good day, class. I am Sunod Jamaica D. Hagonia, your English teacher for today. Today I will discuss about writing an autobiography. Our objectives for today is that at the end of the lesson, students are able to define an autobiography, understand the purpose of an autobiography, learn about the process of writing, brainstorm ideas, write draft, revise, edit, finalize draft, and share work. Outline a personal autobiography. Listen effectively to others and respectively critique their written outputs. Before we proceed to our main topic, let us have our word of the day. Our word for today is the word kenspeckle. Kenspeckle. It is an adjective which originated from Scotland. It means easily recognizable or conspicuous. Example, he loved walking in the village, where he was a kenspeckle figure. It originated in mid-16th century, probably Old Norse, kenna, which means know, and spak, which means wise. Our main topic for today is an autobiography. It gives the history of a person's life, written or told by that person. It is often written in narrative form of that person's life. The purpose of an autobiography is to tell the story of your life, focusing sharply inward on yourself as the storyteller. Autobiographies are personal stories. They are necessarily written in the first person. Details include events which are presented in chronological order and characters who made an impact on the writer's life. So here is an example of an autobiography which tells someone's true life story. This is the autobiography of former President Gerald Ford of the United States. This incident, he remembers, is a painful one that occurred during his adolescence. Okay, class, let us read. My job was to slap hamburgers on the grill, handle cash register, and wash dishes. One day at noon, I was behind the counter in my regular spot near the register when I noticed a man standing by the candy display case. He'd been there 15 or 20 minutes without saying a word, and he was staring at me. Finally, he came over. I'm Leslie King, your father, he said. Can I take you to lunch? I was stunned and didn't know what to say. When I was 12 or 13, Mother had told me that Gerald R. Ford Sr. was not my real father, but we hadn't really discussed the situation at home. I looked him in the eye. I'm working, I said. Ask your boss if you can get out. He persisted. Bill Scoggins told me it was all right. My father took me outside to a new Lincoln. A woman was sitting inside. He introduced her as his wife. They had taken the train to Detroit from Wyoming, where they lived, had purchased a car, and now they were driving home through Grand Rapids. Where shall we go for lunch? He asked. The Cherry Inn, I said. Our talk over lunch was superficial. My father knew I was an athlete and wanted to know how good the team at South High was. We didn't mention the divorce or anything else disagreeable. Leaving the restaurant, we drove back to South High, where my father handed me $25. Now buy yourself something that you want and can't afford otherwise, he said. Then with a wave, he and his wife were gone. That night was the most difficult night of my life. I don't recall the words I used to tell my parents, what had happened, but I do remember the conversation being a loving and consoling one. My stepfather loved me as much as he loved his 3 sons. I knew how much he wanted to help me and how lacking in financial resources he was. Nothing could erase the image I gained of my real father that day. A carefree, well-to-do man who didn't really care about the hopes and dreams of his firstborn son. When I went to bed that night, I broke down and cried. So that is an example of an autobiography. An autobiography is an example of writing from personal experience. It uses a first-person point of view and first-person narrative. So the purpose of a first-person narrative is to relate a personal experience because the experience is part of the writer's memory, though emotional associations are used to give the event meaning. A narrative is by definition a story. In a first-person narrative, then point of view is a fixed part of how the story is told. A first-person narrative relates one or more actual events from a deliberately personal point of view. Words for my feelings. Did you know that there are a lot of words you can describe your feelings? Check them out. Feeling happy, you can also be feeling cheerful, joyful, glad, and wonderful. Feeling sad, maybe you're also feeling gloomy, blue, down, or unhappy. Feeling energized, you can also be feeling inspired, curious, creative, or focused. Feeling angry, you can also be feeling mad, annoyed, frustrated, or furious. So I've discussed this class because these are adjectives that describes feelings. And as you've noticed in what we've read earlier, there are a lot of adjectives used to describe feelings of the events that one recounts in order to write an autobiography. Brainstorming 101. So there are certain techniques that you could use. These are my tips. Remember these two rules in creating brilliant ideas. Number 1, reflect on your own experiences. Try to visualize in your head those past events. And second, write from the heart. So today, I will want you to write an autobiography. But before that, I would want to introduce a famous author, Maya Angelou. So there are a lot of famous people that have written their autobiographies. An example of this is the author Maya Angelou. She is a writer, a poet, and a civil rights activist. So before you start writing your autobiography, let us first discuss that writing is a process. So if you want to excel at writing, you will have to work hard until certain techniques become second nature to you. First, pre-writing. Exploring ideas, choosing a topic, identifying your audience and purpose, and deciding on the main idea you want to develop. Second, writing a first draft. So you have to concentrate on paragraph development and overall organization. Third is revising. Make sure that everything you have included helps you achieve your purpose and that the ideas are clearly stated and logically connected. Fourth is the proofreading. This is the stage at which you try to weed out any imperfections from your paper. So you're ready to write your draft. So I want you, class, to choose a time span, then present your memories of the time period in clear chronological order. Okay, well done, class. Let's proceed to another activity. So I want you to reread the excerpt that I've discussed earlier, the autobiography of President Gerald Ford, and answer the following questions. Number 1, what is the main incident recounted in the excerpt? Number 2, list at least 3 descriptive details that are included. Next, how does the writer's attitude toward the incident develop from the beginning to the end of the excerpt? Fourth, why does the excerpt tell you about Gerald Ford's adoptive father? And the fifth, what personal observations does the author relate? Well done, class. As an assignment, follow these steps to plan, write, and revise a brief autobiography. So follow these steps. Number 1, choose a time span that you would like to write about. Take notes on the setting, the event or events you wish to focus on, and the people involved. If you are covering more than one event, list them in a chronological order. Using your notes, write a first draft of your autobiography, which will be presented in front of the class. So as we end this discussion, let me leave you a little inspiration from Malcolm. Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to people who prepare for it today. That's all for today, class. Have a good day.